XCOM is a beloved franchise that is best known for having the most absurd missed shot opportunities. Seeing that 90% chance of success turn into a failure can turn people away from the experience, and it sometimes does feel like the RNG is just ready for the worst time to betray you. But even with that, there are still tons of diehard fans out there. Considering there really hasn't been a new XCOM game aside from their DLC in about 10 years or so, many of these fans are looking forward to finding the next game to satisfy their turn-based needs. An upcoming game is looking to fill that void, but it also addresses the issues with RNG that have plagued many players' experiences. But what is this game, and should you be checking it out when it releases? Stay tuned to find out. Developed by Signal Space Lab and published by the massively popular publisher Hooded Horse comes Every Day We Fight, an upcoming game that blends real-time exploration, turn-based tactics, and even throws in a dash of roguelite strategy. Seemingly as the last surviving members of a resistance group called the Thorns, you set out to uncover the mysteries of what caused an alien invasion, with the twist that defeat isn't where things end. Akin to the film Edge of Tomorrow, defeat will reset you to a previous time. However, like in many roguelite games, aspects of the world have been slightly changed, allowing for you to potentially gain new resources that can be used to craft weapon mods and useful gear like grenades and bandages, so that you're never without hope. It is up to you and your team to learn new abilities, seek out new weaponry, and develop new techniques and tactics that you can use to overcome a mysterious alien threat. In principle, there's a lot that I like about Every Day We Fight. The time looping mechanic is a neat touch at first, and combat is actually quite enjoyable. Each death sees you return back to your base in the sewers, where a new allotment of weapons and equipment awaits your next attempt at taking down the aliens. During combat, each character gets a large allotment of action points per turn and can even bank up to 5 points to roll over into the next turn if you want. On top of having these action points, you also get a reaction ability that can be used to overwatch an area, use an ability like punching an enemy that gets too close, or even scrambling when your position has been compromised in order to avoid a grenade or an onslaught of bullets. The biggest aspect that stands out in combat is the fact that you get to aim your shots, and while not 100% accurate, it gives you the feeling that you're in control of your own destiny, although enemies can use their reactions to scramble, which causes this kind of funny display of you trying to hit a moving target. And while aiming, you can even lean out over cover to get that extra few degrees that's needed in order to make a difficult shot count. This lean ability does create a little bit of awkwardness in combat, as sometimes with a grenade you wouldn't normally be able to throw. However, if you press the W button while spam clicking, you could get it to throw from behind cover. Obviously this is not intended, but whether the player should be able to reach that distance or angle is a little unsure, as sometimes the map itself can be a little cumbersome to navigate. I really enjoyed the multi-leveled approach to the map, as it gives a good sense to the player and how they want to approach the first real combat scenario in the hotel. However, sometimes it was kind of hard to navigate and see exactly where everyone was at. Now, while you're exploring in the free roam aspect of the game, the aliens apparently have bad eyesight. And I'm not really joking when I say that, because it's literally said in the game.
Gotta say, I'm glad they don't have eyes.
Anyways, their poor eyesight restricts their vision to a radius around themselves and allows you to sneak directly in front of them, which makes getting set up a bit easier, but practically seems a bit goofy, as while they can't see you 2 feet in front of their face before combat starts, they can somehow hit a shot from across a building. It almost feels like there needs to be varying levels of detection to match up with the differing aliens you encounter, and that could very well be the case in the full release, but there was only 2 or 3 aliens shown on the demo, so that never really happened. Each character you play as earns experience points to level up, which stays with the character even after death, allowing you to create new synergies, like having Leo pass off action points to another team member, which can later heal them, having Vivian deploy a hologram that can distract enemies, or having Dylan who can punch those who get close to him. Although, it does seem like in order to use his ability, he steps out of cover and he uses his reaction, which leaves him completely exposed. Unfortunately, one thing all 3 characters share is a lack of good writing and good voice acting. It isn't at a level that I would say is terrible or anything, but the combination of both being at average means that every so often a really poorly written or delivered line will occur that becomes quite noticeable.
We what?
Jump back to the last time we were here.
But Vivian, it's a different time of day. And totally different weather.
It's also a bit frustrating that when I'm tasked with going back to the base in the sewers, I have to stand around a manhole cover until my entire team is done bantering about whatever it is before I am actually allowed to proceed. Now, while you're not in combat, you're out and about in the city, and while your team is loudly talking about how life was in a world where an alien force could be right around the corner and ambush you, you can scavenge a variety of resources and discover new locations from which you can quick travel. As you progress through the game, you're going to unlock new tools that will give you access to better weapons and resources at locations that you weren't normally able to get to. This was a really neat touch to the game, and it really incentivizes the player to explore the city every time they respawn, although I do wish there was a sprint option, because after leisurely jogging around for a while, it did begin to wear on me. I'd even be willing to make more noise and become detected from further away if that meant that I would be able to run, and it would make the game more dynamic as opposed to coming across a barrier that notifies you that beyond this point is a combat zone, meaning as long as you're not there, you're not going to run into any aliens, which I just kind of felt like messes with the overall tone that the game tries to set. Now, it sounds like I have a ton of gripes with the experience, but most of that is due to how much potential I felt like the game had. I feel like this game could have been even better if issues like the open world exploration feeling slow, voice acting not being great, and sometimes funky quirks with combat were to be resolved. Now, with that being said, this game will likely have a home for fans of roguelikes or even those looking for their next XCOM style game. But personally, while I will likely pick this up, I may choose to wait for a sale before diving completely into what it has to offer. Every Day We Fight is set to release on July 10th and the demo is still up, so check it out for yourself if you aren't quite sure. But that'll be it for this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and as always, be kind to one another.
You're stronger than that, Dylan.
Let me do the honor.
Shoutouts go to Relativity, Naughty Dog is King, Chaos, and Kamikolo alongside all those subbed to the channel. Due to a bit of a personal life setback, my big video I've been teasing will take just a little bit longer before it releases, but I hope you're going to stick around to check it out. But either way, I will see you soon.